So attacking with a 7, defending with a 5, defending with a 5, but with 2 power dice. Here we go. All right, the defense failed and gives us a 1 and a 4, which is terrible. The attack failed. I use the last point of luck to reroll this and maybe keep from being killed, but there's only a 50% chance. So the Bandit Berserker will go on to the Fugitive Fop, which will mean we won't be able to assault. Let's see, the Slime Blob, I can choose where that goes. I mean, things overall are just going so poorly that I know I said never use luck, and I meant it, but I'm going to do it. All right, you know, I'm doing it. I'm spending luck. I am re-rolling this die. Actually, what would be better to get? Let's see, on a 1, 2, or 3, this would succeed, and it would block 4 points of damage from everywhere. On a 1, 2, or 3, this would succeed. Oh, so it doesn't really matter. All right, let's re-roll just the defense. 1, 2, or 3. Doesn't matter. All right, let's re-roll this. All right, so literally the Fishy Confectioner is out of luck. There's the damage. Her attack didn't do anything. So that is the round. The Fishy Confectioner now, for the beginning of the next round, the Berserker goes here. The Slime Blob goes here because they're tied for agility. And let's have the Fugitive Fop assault. We want to, well, first of all, yeah, we definitely want options. That thing is super armored. So here we go. These are both rolling off of an 8. Ignore 1 point of armor. All right, the defense succeeded. We do 3 points of damage. Did I daze it? If the total of your attack dice is equal to or greater than their remaining hit points. So yeah, so it is dazed. Is this immediate? If you, oh, no, by the way. Oh, well, it doesn't matter because, all right, so the defense, we succeeded. We do 3 points of damage, which 1 point of armor is ignored. So those are reduced to 2, which puts it at 3. And it is dazed, which means its attack value is now only a 2. All right, I'll take that. I'd much rather be shooting at these. All right, the Void Witch still can't power the Mystic Shield. So there's a defense against 8. There's an attack using 8. We are attacking. Oh, now that the wizard is dead, let's go for the conscript. Can't power the shield. All right, shoot a monkey. Well, the attack succeeded. That's the good news. But first, this failed. We have incoming 10 points of damage. This will prevent 1, and this will prevent 1, which will mean we take 7 points of damage, which will put us at 9. Ugh, it's the worst. All right, so, however, we have done a successful attack with a sacrificial dagger. We were not on assault, so we won't heal. The 5 points minus 1 for its armor are 4 points, which kills the conscript. And now the next round of battle. Once again, let's do an assault. All right, I have to attack the Bandit Berserker. If you're engaged with a monster, you must attack that monster. So it's not like now that she's pretty safe, she could start firing at that. She's got her own thing to deal with. So I will do an assault. I'm mainly concerned with just getting through that armor and doing 1 more point of damage. So I need all the help I can get with power dice. All right, so the attack will kill it. She, of course, successfully defended. It was dazed. We do punch through the armor and kill it. And now let's guard, which means there's our defense. We're going to charge the shield. You know, we've got 2 3s incoming. But we got to be safe because everybody Yeah, the fugitive fop can soak up. But yeah, we got to be safe. It'd be nice if she doesn't die and lose 2 experience points. Oh, speaking of which. Oh, Andy loses his trophies. She loses her trophies. All right, charging the Mystic Shield with a magic check of 9, defending with an agility of 8. The defense sucks, but she rolled a 4. All right, so this is going to suck. So we put, well, first of all, we resolve the defense, which failed. We can absorb 4 points coming in, which means the other 3 will kill us. And I guess I'm just going to have to take that. Yeah. Oh, shoot, but we're losing trophies, too. It's 3 experience points. So if I burn luck, I can go from 4 to 7 experience points. Let's see, can I easily burn luck? If I re-roll this and get lower than... So there's a 2/3 chance. If I re-roll this and get a 1, 2, 3, or 4... You know what? I'm not going to take it. Maybe I am. I mean, I've been so carefree with luck so far. She's never getting any more. Well, I think I'm just going to deal with it. These are 3. I'm just going to take it. So she defends against the slime blob, but Billy Worst gets through and kills her, and she loses 2 experience, and these trophies sadly are lost. That was that round. The beginning of the next round, these 2 things target the fugitive fop. Now in defense, she can still daze, right? Tranquilizer darts. Yeah, tranquilizer darts, you don't have to be in assault or anything. So firing at, let's shoot at the slime blob. Can you tranquilize ooze? You cannot. So we'll fire at Billy Worst. Actually, let's go ahead and fire at the slime blob because we want to kill it rather than tranquilize it. Because we don't want to get slimed. All right, rolling off agility of 8 in both defense and offense. I've been saying agility, but it rolls off perception, so I don't care if I get slimed. Well, I do, yeah. All right, I need to remember that. So rolling off perception. It's an 8 at any rate. All right, lots of failures all around. Intercept 3 points of damage, which means I take 3. I'm going to intercept the slime's attack. Got 3 wounds now. All right, next round, it's the same thing. Rolling against 8s. No attack, but I successfully headed off all the damage with a successful defense. Nope, okay, that's fine. Successful defense with 3 points of damage, and the 3 points of damage to the slime. Knock it down. There we go again. A successful defense, a failed attack. We go again. I haven't rolled any 12s, have I? Hope not. A successful defense, a failed attack. Again, a successful defense, and a successful attack kills the slime blob. Still guarding against Billy Worst. Yeah, that's a failed defense, but the 6 intercepts the damage. 5 points of damage will kill him. Whew. That was, well, first of all, it was an unmitigated disaster in terms of keeping people alive, but we won the battle. So a couple of things. Let's go ahead and resolve all this fun stuff. This, before I forget, gets knocked down to a 2, which is good because we need to do some resting. All right, so all told, 2, 3, 4, 5 experience points, up to 10, and 2, 3, 4, 5 gold. And our loot roll is 5. So we get a piece of loot. Oh my God, could I be any less lucky? Is it a town only? No. Shoot a monkey. All right, we are ambushed by a thief. Now, the good news is it can't kill the fugitive fop. If it steals gold, it's going to run away. But maybe we can kill it. All right. Sack slasher. It goes to the highest gold pieces. That's a fugitive fop. They're dead. They're not even involved in this. I'm going to guard. You know what? I'm going to assault. I wanted to see if I can take that guy out. Yeah. Because I don't care if he does a little damage. If he does, he's just not going to hurt me. He's just going to take my gold and run. So the assault, so the power die goes to the attack. Rolling against an attack of 8 with perception. Defense of 8. No, jeez. Well, the defense of 6 meant I take no damage. So we go on. No, he doesn't. Oh, shoot a monkey. Back up. I have to make a perception check because he ambushed me. I succeeded. If I'd failed, that would have meant I didn't get a power die. I would have had to re-roll just on the first round. I don't think the thief goes anywhere if he doesn't get any gold. If this monster's still alive at the end of a combat round and has gold pieces on it, shuffle it back into the deck. All right, so he's staying there trying to get gold. Still on assault. I successfully defended against it. I did hit it and kill it. So, once again, we don't lower the danger level a second time, but we do get an experience point and a piece of gold. And, yeah, that was our loot roll, right? We don't replace it. So, here's another loot roll. Oh, good. Constellation loot. A witch smeller's nose. Here's what a witch smeller's nose looks like. Pretty silly. I'm not sure I'd want to run around wearing that. It allows you to ignore ambushes from witches and heretics. Fairly specific. Who wants to wear this silly thing? Let's see. Oh, only Puritans can wear it. And guess what? We have no Puritans. So we'll be selling a witch smeller's nose next time we're into town. That is the end of this calamity. We will discard that. Speaking of calamities, we have a dead fishy confectioner and void witch, slightly injured fugitive fop, so naturally we're going to rest. Let's rest in bold stance because the danger level is low enough and I'd really like to make some progress exploring this space and finding the treasure trove that we're looking for. So I'm going to stay in bold stance. We're going to do recovery rolls. These are against morale. No one's depressed, but morale for everyone except the fugitive fop is pretty low. The fugitive fop, who is least in need of healing, passes and heals up all of her damage. The Void Witch. Now, is there anything we can eat? At this point, I would love to eat something that improves morale. I'm not even sure what that would be, but we don't have it. We have something that will improve our perception, but nobody's hungry for that. All right, the Void Witch's morale is a 6, otherwise she only heals up 3 points of damage. Lovely. Healing up 6 points of damage brings her down to 4 wounds. The morale for the fishy confectioner is a 6. He, just falls short. His slime isn't there anymore. Just falls short of making his morale check, and therefore only heals up 3, so from 14 to 11. Having a morale this low for your tank with this reserve of hit points, not a really good combo. Let's hope we don't have a turn like last turn. I mean, when you think back to it, this was pretty spectacular. We were just resting when there were shady dealings between a bunch of bandits, and they then included a convict conscript, so I guess one of our prison mates, he shows up. Also along is an outlaw wizard who summoned a slime blob, and all along they had a sack slasher waiting to jump us. So the rest was mandatory, of course. That was the main event, but while we're here, we're still going to be resting while we're in a safe place. We are going to explore the space and use a perception roll for that. That is a success, which then means we put an explored token down here. We now have explored the watchtower, which gives us a few other options, but the first thing we want to do is check the highest roll in our perception test against the value of this counter. If it is greater than or equal to, I think, the number, we can then discover the unspoiled, not the unspoiled tomb, the treasure trove. Here we go. Yes, so we had a 4, here's a 3. We have now discovered the treasure trove. I believe that's technically our encounter this round. Let me verify that. So we found this treasure trove. We will encounter it. We're still doing parts of our rest phase though, but we now know from exploring this space, we found the treasure trove. Let's do a couple of other things while we're here. Let's now pick herbs. So there are 4 herbs in the game. They correspond to each of the 4 territories. The herbs in the highlands are sweet leaf. You will find sweet leaf growing there. This is the herb native to the highlands. It lets you, during a rest, make a magic check, and if you pass, you get some experience points. If we'd crossed the border over here into the witchwood, we could have found witchweed. If we'd gone up here into the badlands, we could have found goon grass. And of course, in the marsh, you find marsh moss. We now, our other options for resting boldly, I think that's pretty much it. We've picked herbs, we've explored, we now draw a danger card, and then we will have our encounter with the treasure trove. We are in a 2, a 4, definitely our danger avoidance is successful. The witchwood, just in general, this whole territory, the colored area is a region. Within each region there are territories. Here, for instance, is the witchwood. Here is, what are these? The fields. So the witchwood in general goes from a 4 to a 5. This applies to all of the paths in this road here. All right, so we're safe. We wouldn't have an encounter or encounter those monsters, but because we explored this token, we are now going to resolve treasure trove. You found a cache of valuables. You better take what you can before someone comes looking for it. The adventure with the highest perception. Okay, so it doesn't matter in a game where one player, me, is playing all the characters, because I'll just share it as needed. So we will have the fugitive fop draw an epic loot. Let's see, no, that's not the epic loot deck. Here we go. So here are the epic loots, and there really aren't that many of them in the game. There are the epic monsters. Give these a quick shuffle. The entire goal, and I don't know if this is a spoiler, in a campaign of Hand of Doom is to defeat the Hand of Doom, although you do have the option to abet the Hand of Doom if you want to go that direction. And the way you defeat the Hand of Doom is with an artifact. So what happens in the grand finale is the 4 lords of this area, Verstrike, they appear, and each of them is randomly given one of 4 powerful artifacts. One of those artifacts is called a puzzle box, and the only way to stop the Hand of Doom is to bring the puzzled box to its space and trap the Hand of Doom in that puzzle box. So the last mission is dealing with these powerful lords and finding which one has the puzzle box and then using it against the Hand of Doom. The puzzle box is epic loot. It's one of, I think, 10, 11, 12, I think 11 epic loots. If you draw the puzzle box before the final mission, then you don't have to fight any of the lords. You've got the puzzle box. You set up the mission, you make a beeline to the Hand of Doom, pop it in the puzzle box, you've won the entire campaign. The whole setup for the final mission is completely subverted because you got a lucky draw, which technically isn't that lucky. Over the course of a campaign, you'll get to draw from the epic loot deck a couple of times. So if you get that puzzle box, the last mission isn't going to matter. So what I have done is removed, because you actually do this with a few different things. You're supposed to remove the Dread Saint. He's reserved for a certain specific scenario. There's also a Doombringer horn and a Crown of Cruelty. For some reason, the puzzle box, the campaign setup doesn't tell you to remove it. It has you just leave it in the Epic Loot deck. So you can draw it, and then there goes any drama in the final mission. So I have opted to remove the puzzle box from the Epic Loot deck. I'd prefer that the final scenario plays out as intended. All right, our Epic Loot draw is a Night Cloak. You're immune to Pursue, and you may attempt to escape even if a monster with Pursue is targeting you. You can use a magic or perception check when testing an escape, and you don't have to roll for stealth if your party is trying to hide. So basically, someone who has a low agility or perception should carry this around, which I'm looking at the Fishy Confectioner. All right, the Fishy Confectioner is going to wear a Night Cloak, as well as a Witch Smeller's Nose, and she's carrying a Shoddy's Shield. Let's give everyone some gold. D6 plus 2 for the Fugitive Fop. 3 gold for, let's go ahead and give that, so that's from 6 to 9. For the Void Witch, very good, 7 gold, so from 4 to 11. This is the part of the movie where the characters sit around and ask each other what they're going to do with their share of the money. Oh, good lord. And then the Fishy Confectioner gets 3 gold, so goes from 1 to 4. That could have gone better. But the good news is, overall, we have now met the main objective for this scenario, loot and pillage. So we just now have to rest in a town space, and that will end the scenario for us, and we'll get the scenario reward. So let's see, the closest, we can remove this. The closest town space, obviously, Pigskin Port. So that was our initial rest action to make sure that the Void Witch and the Fishy Confectioner didn't die. We've rested the bare minimum. They're still hurt. We're now going to, for our next turn's map action, boldly move along this road and head back in one turn to Pigskin Port. Once we rest in Pigskin Port, we will then win the scenario. But before we rest, we have now moved boldly. We must do all the other thing. We now check a danger level. Let's see. Oh, no. You know what? I briefly thought that was your space and we were going to have to fight the Void Hound again. It is not. We just reshuffle the danger deck. The good news there, no place on the map increases its danger level. The bad news, all those places that increase their danger levels are now back in play. So we take this. By the way, there is an encounter icon here, so that means we will have a chance for a settlement encounter. But first, let's shuffle this. And then after the settlement encounter, we'll resolve the winning, the reward for the scenario. Can we rest first to make sure that we begin the next scenario in fighting trim? I might have to look that up. Actually, when you start a new scenario, do you reset your character's health? I'm gonna look that up as well. I know you don't reset anything on the map. All right, this has been reshuffled. Let's check our settlement encounters. Remember, the first one, if it doesn't apply, we draw a second one. If that doesn't apply, there is no encounter. So here we are in Pigskin Port in the Highlands. Can we encounter a horde of beggars? This only occurs in Fishmonger Camp in the Highlands or in the Lowlands. Resolve immediately. A mob of hungry locals is crowding the streets, and with quivering, outstretched hands, they implore you for money. We just got our money. If we can frighten them off, fight them, or pay them. Frightening them, each adventurer checks morale or strength. If more of them fail than pass, then we have to burn a turn fighting them. We become what's called detained. Detained just means we can't move next turn, which we weren't going to do anyway, so the joke's on you, beggars. If everyone fails the check, then we have to fight the beggars. Let's see, what if we pay them? Pay them a total of 3 gold pieces or become detained. What is this push? Oh, or we can push them. We can push our way through the throng. Each adventurer attempts a strength check. If more fail than pass, we are detained. So, all right. Fighting the beggars, well, we don't really want to do that. Don't want to take any more damage than I have to. They don't carry much money with them. So we're going to frighten them. Each adventurer must attempt a morale or strength check. Shoot. All right, well, they're just 7s. Yeah, nobody has anything better than a 7. And the Void Witch is actually going to roll a 6. You know, we could just pay him off. The Void Witch has gold. All right, let's give him 3 gold. Simply because I don't want to risk bad rolls and then dying. So we show up, our pockets heavy from the treasure trove, and just when we get to Pigskin Port, a horde of beggars falls upon us. And because they're aggressive, we're going to give them 3 gold. 3 gold from the Void Witch puts her from 11 down to 8. So, having arrived in Pigskin Port, having paid off the horde of beggars, we, for our next turn, will rest. Once we rest in a town after completing the objective, which in this case was finding the treasure trove, at the end of the encounter step, we successfully finish the mission. Once we've done that, everything except the clue tokens remains in its current state. We're going to remove all these clue tokens. They'll be used for the setup of the next mission, and we will get our rewards and then do the setup for whatever mission we choose next. So let us now rest. We're going to resolve this rest action. We've got a fair bit of stuff to do in Pigskin Port. We'll draw our danger card, and then after we've resolved whatever encounter may or may not happen, we win, loot, and pillage. First of all, resting, we begin with recovery checks. Recoveries, which are morale checks. The fugitive fop has no reason to make one, but just for flavor, she makes her morale check. The Void Witch, a morale of 6, makes her check, so she heals up all of her wounds. The Fishy Confectioner, who's the real problem here with that health, a morale of 6, sweet, heals up 11 minus 6 down to 5 wounds. That was the recovery step. Let's go ahead and try to explore Pigskin Port. We didn't do it successfully before. Void Witch with her perception of 8. Do we want to smoke anything? We actually might eat this. What are the odds of me failing an 8? It's kind of a rhetorical question because it's fairly easy to figure out. I'm actually not going to eat any food or smoke anything because I think we're going to rest here one more turn. It would be nice to get our Fishy Confectioner's wounds all the way down, what with her being kind of our main bag of hit points. Where did this come from? This obviously fell out of the loot deck when I drew the Night Cloak. The epic loot deck. Man, that would have been nice to have. Let's go ahead and use the Sweet Leaf and the Scroll of Ancient Gibberish on. It's really the Void Witch. I'd like to start getting mastery on the Mystic Shield and Decay. There's no hurry really with the Fishy Confectioner skills. So the Void Witch is going to smoke some Sweet Leaf. We will discard this and make a magic test, which is a 9 for her. The lowest single die if we pass is the experience points we gain. We did not pass. So we smoked Sweet Leaf and nothing happened. If you fail, you become fatigued. That was fun. Fatigued simply means she cannot fast march until we've rest. Let's now try the Scroll of Ancient Gibberish. Discard this card, do a magic check. If you fail, increase the danger level in your town and you're demoralized. The magic test, which is the higher of the 2 dice, if we succeed, is the number of experience points we get. Well, 3 experience points. I will take it. It worked better than the Sweet Leaf. We're up to 5. Do we want to eat anything? No, I don't think so. Do we want to sell? We might sell this silly thing. I'm sorry, Fugitive Fop. I know, we're selling his poor little raccoon. We will be selling the Witch Smeller's Nose. We have no Puritans to wear it. We're awfully low on loot. Okay, but we have money. All right, so we're now going to resolve a trade action. Because this is an explored town, we get to draw from the loot deck the town level +1, which is going to be 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fortunately, I know that there is no town raid in there. I think we're also missing a sack thief. All right, here we go. We have, and this is just for purchase, we don't necessarily get these, a shrapnel bomb for 3, a pole axe, which allows a strength check, which might be good for the fishy confectioner. Nope, not strong enough. Spiked, so nobody's strong enough to use that. Spiked maul. Another shoddy shield. Are they the same? Yeah. It's a backup one. Oh, and a spiked shield, which nobody is strong enough to use. Shoot a monkey. All right, so we definitely want this shrapnel bomb. Nobody is strong enough to use those. Do we want a backup shoddy shield? So we're going to go ahead and sell the Witch Smeller's Nose and the Fluffy Familiar. Sorry, Fugitive Fop. To be perfectly honest, she was not that attached to her Fluffy Familiar. I mean, it is adorable. Look at those big eyes. You say, no, no, don't sell me. Please don't sell me. We found a good home for him, though, here in Pigskinport. So our grand total from this, half of 8 is 4, half of 6 is 3. That's 7 gold. And we will buy the shrapnel bomb for 3, which puts us down to 4 gold. Do we want to buy a spiked maul? Attacks ignore armor. For all intents and purposes, it's the Scrog spike that applies against everything. So yes, we want to buy it. So the $3 shrapnel bomb and the $4 spiked maul, we trade a Fluffy Familiar and a Witch's Nose for it. That means we can also sell the Scrog spike. There is I think there's only one creature in the deck, and I also think it might be an epic creature. There is a rare keyword called acidic, and when an acidic monster, I think when it inflicts wounds on a character, that character randomly discards loot. So acidic monsters are the reason you might want backup loot. I don't think anything ever steals your loot. But the odds of us running into that, please. So we're also going to sell the Scrog Spike for 2 gold. Half of 4 is 2. And we're not going to give that to the Fishy Confectioner. The Fishy Confectioner, again, it's gamey, but the game allows us to do this. We'll give the Scrog Spike to the Void Witch, who then sells it. Because we don't want the Fishy Confectioner to lose gold, because then her money-hungry weakness makes her lose morale. The Shrapnel Bomb, someone who goes quickly. So the Shrapnel Bomb inflict D6 plus 1 damage on swarms, and a D3 plus 1 on every other monster in your space. Oh, it's not a quick action, no, it's a combat action. All right, so basically just a little early, it's a grenade. For the improve action, which is where we would spend experience points, the Fugitive Fop is sitting on 11 experience points. I'm going to go ahead and buy performance. So whenever we're in a settlement, we can get a little bit of gold. And gold will be important down the road because it's part of how you keep towns safe, is you shunt gold into the town using the invest action, and the town level raises. So that cost us 6, so from 11 to 5, nobody else has any, nobody else has the experience points to get a skill. Guess what? Let's perform. Fugitive Fop rolling against agility gains gold equal to the lowest die. If, well, she failed that performance. That was embarrassing. So she got up there and did some sort of a puppet show that nobody liked. Also here, let's use the black market skill from the Fishy Confectioner. Draw a card from the loot deck. If it's an ally, item, or service, you can purchase it for its normal cost. Otherwise discard it. Meaning, this black market skill is safe from monsters, town raids, and diseases. So here is our draw from the loot deck. Cleansing Elixir. We definitely want this because Mean Streets introduces a new system called Plagues, and Plagues will scatter these horrible things around. A Plague counter, when you're on a plague space or when you catch the plague, it reduces your healing, which means it takes longer to rest, and also plague stacks up. It gets worse and worse. This Cleansing Elixir, it doesn't look as bad as gutter milk. The Cleansing Elixir is one way to treat plague. So we definitely want to pay 4 for this. If it is an ally, you may purchase it for the normal cost. But again, here is where the game does say you can, I believe it says you can freely exchange gold during any map action. So theoretically, if the Fishy Confectioner drew this and couldn't afford it, the Void Witch could spot her the money. So we are buying the Cleansing Elixir, and I guess there's no way around the fact that the Fishy Confectioner's gold level would go up and would then go down and force a check for money hungry. Not even a check, it just happens. So when you lose gold for any reason, if you have less than 10, if you have less than 10, maybe we should just have the Fishy Confectioner carry all of our gold. Yeah, let's just cheese it and make sure the Fishy Confectioner doesn't get below 10. So the Void Witch is going to loan, of her 10 gold, 6 to the Fishy Confectioner. It's not really a loan, she's not expecting to get paid back. The Fugitive Fop will loan 5 to the Fishy Confectioner, which puts the Fishy Confectioner at 15. We are spending 4 on the Elixir, which puts her at 11. And who wants to carry the Elixir around? Seems like the sort of thing a Void Witch would have. I'm not buying any of these things, they go into the discard pile. Do we want a backup shield? I mean, we did roll that 12 when we didn't have the tranquilizer darts loaded. How much does it cost? 6. And the Fishy Confectioner does have this Scrog of Burden, which allows her to carry around additional heavy items. I think we're not going to do it. What are the odds of rolling a 12? Yeah, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pay money as insurance against rolling a 12 in a very specific situation. So watch that come back to bite me. We first draw this. Gutfish Ford, which is down here, gets busted down a point. And if there's an encounter symbol on the card, which you'll note there isn't, we would have a settlement encounter, so we won't have that. So there is Gutfish Ford. Our encounter phase is over on the turn that we rested here after having accomplished our objective. So we have just won Loot and Pillage. Let's get our reward, which I think is just a point of luck and maybe a little bit of gold. Each adventurer gains 1 luck. Remove any law counters that were placed due to the manhunt. Manhunt was a rule where if we'd been faffing about in the lowlands, when we rest in a city, we kick up the... people are looking for us because we busted out of prison, but we didn't spend any time in the lowlands. If you destroyed a caravan, which we didn't do, so we just get luck. Let's do that real quick. And now we choose what mission we're going to do next. So your mission path is based on which objective you completed. In our case, it was the treasure trove. If you plunder the unspoiled tomb, pillage, because we're loot and pillaging. If we'd pillaged the unspoiled tomb, we would have had the chance to... What would we have done? Oh yeah, that quest. basically making magical crystal meth for someone. We're not doing that because we didn't plunder that. Okay, so if we did a treasure trove, thanks to you, commerce has been destabilized in the region. It's a treasure trove. How did that destabilize commerce? The merchant guilds are eager to hire new mercenaries brave enough to travel far into the wasteland to establish trade with the goblins and people of Gutfish Ford. Why do we want to trade with goblins? So we can enlist with the guildsmen or the river rats. The river rats being the underground criminal faction along the river. I'm surprised the map doesn't tell us the name of the river. I guess that would be a little bit too much information. I'm pretty sure that's in the lore somewhere. So we are now deciding if we want to help establish trade with the goblins and people of Gutfish Ford by joining with the guildsmen, or if you decline the guild's offer, you begin looking for work on the seedy side of town. Local bandit gangs have taken note of your exploits, and they send goons carrying an ultimatum. Work for them or get out of town. And that's where we would do a quest called Death for Hire, which is basically track someone down and assassinate him or her. Let's see. I kind of feel like, are we the type of escaped criminals who would support the economy or who would support the criminal element? I think... Oh, shoot a monkey.